Settle in and take a few deep, calming breaths. With each exhalation, feel gravity pulling you down further into your seat, and feel the muscles give in, relax, and let go of all tension. Let all the thoughts of what you've done already today or will need to do later fall away. The only thing to do in this moment is to be present and explore your experience with the totality of your gentle concentration. Take one more deep breath and then allow the breath to maintain a natural rhythm. Does it feel like there's an aspect of what you take yourself to be, what feels like you, that seems to be moving through time? Is there something that feels like it has always been here for as long as you can remember, and that feels like it may always be here? If so, how exactly is this being recognized? We only have five basic senses with which to know the external world, and a mental version of the same five senses with which we can explore the inner world. So, right now, keep your eyes closed and scan briefly through all of the five senses to see if you can instantly discover in which sense faculty, or combination of them, that feeling of being a subject moving through time is felt. Now let's investigate a couple of these together. Do you have a visual image of the body, or perhaps snapshots of specific moments of your life that are flickering on and off screen, reminding you that you are the body and that this body has always existed? If so, what is it about those images that makes you certain it is you, or that it bears any resemblance to who you are in this moment? Is there a felt sensation in the body that is substantiating the images? For instance, you are aware of an image of a face, and you can feel sensations of muscular tightness and pressure and movement in the place where you believe your face to be. So the image is assumed to be an accurate representation of the physical structure. Are you hearing a voice in the head or some auditory affirmation that you are here and have always been here? If so, what gives that voice its air of authority? Is it because it sounds like your speaking voice? Does it also connect to a corresponding sensation in the body that feels tense, contracted, or in some way relevant to proving that you have always been here? Remaining with sensations, is there a feeling in the body which is like a humming, a buzzing, electricity, aliveness, or pulsing that seems to be contributing to the clocking of time? Are you feeling your heartbeat? Are you feeling blood pumping through veins? Is this motion taken as proof that time is passing and that you are here to witness it all? Is this also taken as proof that the body is alive? Just notice how much is being read into that sensation of movement. Our sense that time is passing is dependent on memory, and our ability to imagine a future. So let's try an experiment. Right now, see if you can drop any thoughts about the past, even those of the past few seconds. Be completely present with what is here now. Try keeping your attention focused on those bodily sensations. Now, do you see memories of those sensations instantly forming? These memories might not be in the forefront of your experience, and they might be more subtle than you are anticipating. Feel the sensations in the body. As you are keeping your focus trained on them, do you feel an almost immediate snapshot of the state of the body as it was a fraction of a second earlier, appearing and then being replaced by the fresh experience of the present moment? Can you recognize this flipping back and forth as it happens? The present experience is constantly being compared to the memory of the moment that just passed. It's like we can't monitor the system in real time, but need to constantly take diagnostic photographs to refer back to make sure that things are still the same way they were a moment ago. See if you can become aware of this process happening. As you remain aware of this phenomenon, does it feel that you are referring back to this snapshot from someplace else? If these diagnostic snapshots are being viewed and recognized, then by whom is that happening? Does it suddenly put you at a distance from the sensations and the representative images in them? Where is the viewer of the images? Where is the feeler of the feeling? Again, it needs to be in one of the five senses. Does this seem like an infinite regression where the one who is viewing is also made from mental images and bodily sensations? Now, from where in these appearances of sensations, images, and sounds do you derive the sense of continuity? There may be a flash of an image showing a face and feelings of muscular tension that are creating a similar current facial expression. And these two are then combined into something that feels me like. But how does the idea of temporality come into that? You might have a feeling of weight and density in the back, or your bottom against the chair, that are providing the sense of solidity that seems to imply that there is someone here. But where in any of that is the information regarding the passing of time? And most importantly, where is the one who is the unchanging witness of it? It's not enough here to just jump to what you think is the correct answer, namely, that there isn't a witness that can be found. Be honest if it feels like there is one, and take some time now to get curious about how the assumption of a witness is taking shape. For this next part of the exploration, I'd like you to open your eyes. As you look around the space you are in, I would like for you to notice a subtle truth about our experience. We very rarely relate to the world from a fresh, inquisitive perspective. We did as babies and young children, but over time we lost that curiosity, and way of looking without knowing. What our experience tends to be more like is that we take a cursory glance at something, perhaps a chair in your room, and immediately, perhaps even too fast to notice at first, there's a labeling of the chair as a chair. In slow motion, the mind sees at first a mass of shape and color without meaning, and almost instantly checks in with the stored database of similar objects. What does it look most like? Have I seen something similar or identical? If so, what was it used for? Is it safe or dangerous? What is it called? How do I feel about this particular object? Where did I buy it or who gave it to me? All of these come in layer upon layer, creating not just a chair, but that particular chair, and ultimately my chair. So take a moment to select another object in your surroundings to work with, and then drop the memory of that target. And don't move your gaze there yet. Keep your head turned away and very, very slowly move your head or your eyes towards the object, noticing that right now, before it's in the center of your vision, and without any conceptualization or memories about it, you don't really know what the object is. It is simply a blurry mass of color. But as the gaze gets closer to it, there might be a moment where it not only clicks into place as a clear object, but it will somehow become the object, like it locks into its identity. Continue playing with this, moving your head slowly towards different objects in your space as you listen to this next section. This nearly instantaneous recognition is very helpful when it comes to navigating a fast paced daily life. If we have to take 10 minutes to figure out what every object is in the refrigerator and fabricate a new combination of those items from scratch, it would take us hours just to make a sandwich, and it probably wouldn't be very tasty. So we use this shorthand to instantly know when I'm hungry that the food is located in a refrigerator, what a refrigerator is without needing to discover it for ourselves each time, how to open the refrigerator, what the likely contents of it currently are, what mustard and lettuce are, and how they will taste together, and so on. All of this processing is done under the surface and extremely quickly. But what we often overlook is that it is this instant recognition of an object, a person, or a situation, and this living life through labels that makes it feel like I've been here before. I know what that is. I've seen it every day. And I know I don't like that or that I like it. A large part of our feeling of having a continuity of existence where we have always been here comes down to the immediate recognition of our environment in a way that creates a sense of familiarity. So, what is the antidote to this? Being in direct experience through the most raw form of the senses and not simply relating to the world through those labels. So, right now, pick another object in the room. Settle your gaze upon it and notice if there's an instant recognition of what this thing is and possibly even its backstory. If so, let all of that go and bring the attention just to the curious shapes and colors presenting themselves. Is it possible to look at this object truly for the first time? Can you see it in a way that it has never been seen? Not because you're simply looking at it from a different angle, but that you're seeing it without precognition. And notice as those labels, memories, and assumptions fall away, if the nature and appearance of the object starts changing on its own. If the object is at some distance from you, Do you feel that you know the size of the object and that it is just far away? Or can you now see it as a miniature version of that particular object? Is it far away or just tiny? Does it have three dimensions? If so, how can you tell? Is it the shading, the play of darkness and light that create the appearance of depth? Does it seem to cast a shadow on the wall or floor, and is that creating an illusion of distance? Could it perhaps be a convincing painting that tricks the brain into creating a third dimension where there isn't one? Can you ever know for sure without touching it? Can you see the backside of the object? If not, then how do you know it exists? It feels like it must, right? Your mind can fill in the unseen information. But do you have any way of knowing that this object isn't simply a flat, two dimensional cardboard cutout that has no other aspect to itself than what is immediately visible? What if there isn't even cardboard on the other side? Even that would be a further assumption created by the mind. Is it uncomfortable to imagine the object without a back? Feel into that discomfort as it leads you to create an impression of knowing something when you simply don't have the relevant information. Can you remain in the discomfort of ambiguity without needing to know what is on the other side of the object? Can you tell that this object could perform an actual function if it was originally supposed to? Using only the visual information currently available, what gives you the impression that this object can actually do anything? Could you interact with it at all? Or is it as intangible from this perspective as a mountain range in a nature documentary? It looks real enough, but all you can touch is a television screen. Remain in absolute communion with that object, allowing it to be nothing but raw sensory data. From this way of observing, is there any indication of the passing of time or that you have ever been here before? If it feels like there is, see if it is because more of those very subtle snapshots are being captured, and if there is a referring back and forth between them and the current vision. Just recognize it happening and that it doesn't create the passing of time any more than the feelings of muscular tension and thoughts created a self. Without referring to memories or anticipating any possible fantasies about the coming minutes or years, where is the proof that there has ever been any other moment but this one? If you hear a voice protesting that memories are real, notice for a moment that the memories are happening in exactly the same place as projections of the future. Take this opportunity, with your eyes open, to remember a moment ago what your experience was of listening to this inquiry and looking at an object. Did the memory of it appear in a place that was different from the actual visual field in which your waking reality seems to be seen? Take note of exactly where it is happening and how similar the two visual experiences, the memory and the current appearance, might be. Now imagine yourself sitting here 5 minutes from now. You are still looking at this same object and listening to this inquiry, but imagine how it will be different. Does the fantasy about the future appear in a different place from the memory or the current visual experience? How can you tell the difference between the memory and the future projection? And how can you tell both of them from the supposedly real world you seem to be contacting with your visual sense right now? Memories and fantasies are both thoughts made out of the same thought stuff, and they are appearing in the same mental, visual, auditory, and felt space, which for you may or may not have been exactly the same as the presumed external visual or auditory or felt space. And you know that thoughts about the future are obviously not real because you are concocting them out of predictions and assumptions. So if they are made of the same stuff and appear in the same place, what gives you the impression that memories are any more trustworthy or accurate than fantasies? A thought is a thought. Continue to hold your attention on that particular object, sitting right here, referring only to direct experience and not to an untrustworthy memory. Can you know for sure that you were not poofed into existence this instant? Remaining in that direct experience, can you tell that there is anything separate right now from this object? There might still be physical sensations in the body, but are they actually appearing at a distance from the object? Aren't they both happening right here in the same place at this timeless instant? Can you feel that they are both expressions of the same totality? Notice if those diagnostic snapshots are still taking pictures of the current moment and relating back to them. And if so, just let that be. Isn't that too just another experience in the visual, physical, or auditory fields that is all happening in this same timeless moment? Stay present in direct connection with that object, which is still just an indefinable show of color and shape. Again, does there appear to be any distance between the object and the witnessing of the object? If so, turn the attention back towards whatever seems to be the focal point of that witnessing. Can you find anything there that can be deemed separate or at a distance from the object? Is there a witnesser that is actually doing the seeing, recognizing, and knowing? If there are mental images appearing about a body or an internal voice asserting something, recognize that these are just more of those same manifestations of mind, and that they are all happening in the same place as the object you are looking at. See if you can find the openness, the spaciousness that coincidentally often coincides with the collapse of the illusion of distance and the illusion of an observer who is observing. Everything is right here at zero distance, but it is also inexpressibly wide and open and free. This exploration can also be done with sounds, with the eyes either open or closed. Just for a moment, close your eyes again and find a fairly consistent sound, either in the room or outside of it. It could be wind, or an appliance running, or the sound of your own breathing, or the quiet tinnitus that is always there, but that we often are too distracted to notice. Is there an instant objectification of the sound? Do you think you immediately recognize it and perhaps even see a mental image of it? If so, can you drop that and come right back to the most raw experience of it possible? And notice if the sound seems to expand with more attention being placed on it in its unlabeled form. Does it appear closer, louder, more intricate? And what is giving you the impression that there is the passing of time in any of this? Don't you need to remember what just came before in order to know that this isn't the first time you have heard this sound? When listening to music, we need memory to create a melody. Otherwise, we would only ever hear one solitary note. But here it all is, right now. As best as you can, stay with the ever changing but ever unique and fresh appearance of this sound. And let the fresh appearance of it collapse the sense of ever having heard something similar in the past. Let it collapse the seeming distance between the origin of the sound and the hearing of the sound. There is no distance. The sound is being created exactly in the same place where it is heard. So allow all of those mental overlays of distance, volume, change, time, the assumed perceiver, and the whole faculty of perception to fall away, leaving only what is here right now as the only thing that has ever been here or could ever be here. there is no indication right now that it has ever been otherwise or could ever be otherwise. So stay right there. Trying to maintain this fresh, childlike, open way of experiencing all of the senses, you can slowly open your eyes, delighting in the fresh vibrancy of color, shade, shadow, dark and light, and the curious appearance of unlabeled shapes. Sit here, experiencing this way of being for as long as you would like. And when you do get up to go about your day, remain in this interconnected, undifferentiated way of being with all of the arising sensory phenomena, allowing everything to remain timeless and selfless and liberatingly indefinable.